Okay, so Periscope is a live broadcasting app. And what you can actually do is also save your broadcast. So it can save to your phone. You could repost it somewhere else later, or you can share it somewhere else later. You can email it out. There are we're going to talk about some of those mechanics tonight. And so we're going to cover some of that. So that's essentially what Periscope is. You're able to live broadcast, sort of like for those of you that have ministries that are familiar with live streaming, very, very similar concept, except it's really done from your phone or your tablet. So if you notice on the right hand side, you see periodically some hearts. And if somebody can do that for me, you'll see some hearts floating from the bottom to the top of the screen. And that is showing love. That is, I like what you're saying. I like what you're doing. I like this topic. I'm showing you some love. I'm showing you some hearts. I'm showing you that I like your content. And so you do want, whatever it is that you share on Periscope, that people would give you some hearts. So what you will hear me say periodically, and if you follow other people on Periscope, what you will hear them say is give me some hearts. And so in order to do that, you can pretty much tap anywhere on your screen, but if you tap down in the bottom right-hand corner, you will get, can anyone else not see me? I think you need to log out and log back in, TT. Okay, good. So you just tap on the screen, like where you see my finger, and then all of the hearts will come up. And the color that you see is basically the color that your comments show up in. So if you're not sure what color hearts you have, you can type a little comment right now. And I'm honestly not sure why you can't see me, because other people can. So I would probably shut down the app completely, like close the app and then come back in and try it that way. So actually close the app. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. Okay. Yeah, I think you all need to actually close out of the app, not just close out of this broadcast, but actually close out of the app and try it again. And if that's true, you do know what I look like. So if you can hear me, it'll be okay. I'm not going to show anything per se. You're just going to actually hear me. So anyway, you'll see the hearts periodically, hopefully, because I'll be saying something good that you want to hear. So you'll see those hearts. You also see the chat that's happening in the bottom. One thing that I do need to point out for those of you that are new to Periscope is that the chats don't stay there the entire time. So in a way, you have to sort of pay attention a little bit, but I do have a tip that I'm going to share during this Periscope on how you can do that, but still maintain your momentum and your flow as you're going as well. So a little bit about me for those of you that may not be familiar with me, but I think a lot of you are. Again, I said my name is Adeea Rogers. I'm known online as the Trendy Socialite. And so you're like, so what is a trendy socialite talking about using Periscope in ministry? Well, I am a Christian. I am very, very active in my church, and I am the daughter of a pastor. And so that's her right back there. In that picture, that's me and my family. Kind of oldie but goodie, but that's my mom and my pastor as well. I'm also the head of the communications ministry at my church, which means I am responsible for the digital, the video, broadcasting. I also do a lot of the print and the digital media that we have. So, or I contract it out, or I work with our ad agency that we have on retainer on that kind of stuff. So I am very familiar with technology, and I feel like I have some ideas just growing up in church, knowing church culture, knowing the hearts of pastors and ministry leaders and leaders, period, and ministers, just how, what your heart is toward the people. And so I feel like I have some insight that I can share with you that will allow you What kind of phone am I using? An iPhone. So are you still not able to see me or any of that kind of stuff? So I feel like I have some insight in that will be helpful to you in this regard. I know how it is when new technology comes out. It's like, well, I just got used to the old thing. And so that's why I wanted to do this, to try to equip me. Okay, good. Yes, iPhone 6. To try to equip you and help you so that you can know how to use it efficiently and effectively, and in a way that will add to your ministry and not detract from it or make it feel burdensome or anything like that. By day, I am the social media manager for the Student Involvement and Leadership Department at East Carolina University. So I actually do social media as my actual current day job. So like I said, I do have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of expertise, just enough to be dangerous. So one thing that I would really, really appreciate for you to do right now, for those of you that are new to Periscope, if you have an iPhone, if you take your finger and swipe, you will see a little box pop up and it'll say share and something else. So click on that share button and share this Periscope with everyone that follows you on Periscope. You can also share this on Twitter as well. So if you would do that for me, I would appreciate it. All my old heads, you know what to do. And so before I actually get into my content, that would be really great if you would do that and show me some love that you're ready to hear 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. Tap the screen, tap, 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 tap. Oh, if you're on an Android, you either swipe up or down. I forget which one it is. I feel like it's up. And the same thing should pop up. If it says like try again or it's failed on, yes, okay, up. If it says that it's failed on Twitter, what you actually have to do is copy that link and get out of this broadcast and then go share it on Twitter. So if you don't feel like doing that, that's fine. You don't have to. Thank you for the hearts, whoever is tapping away. You actually, when you hit share on Twitter, it comes up with an automatic tweet, and then you would click post. That's how you share on Twitter, and it actually posts. It's supposed to post to Twitter for you. For me, for some reason, it doesn't work like that, and I'm not really sure why. So anyway, thank you, boo. I love my hearts, my green hearts. All right. So we're gonna really, really get started now. I'm gonna tell you why I think Periscope is a great addition to ministry outreach. And a lot of it has to do with two things. It's personal and it's human. It really puts a human face and a personal touch on your interaction with not only your current congregants and followers and members, but also potential followers and members and congregants and potential visitors. So I really think it puts a personal human touch on that. In the business world and marketing world, they say that people do business with who they like, know, and trust. This gives you an opportunity to develop a similar type of rapport with people that may be interested in attending your church or attending an event at your church or participating in your Bible study or participating or utilizing your services, counseling, what have you. It gives you an opportunity to establish some rapport and some trust with them in that way. And it makes them feel that much more comfortable when they do that. This is also like your digital calling card, right? So whenever we are about to, when we're looking for a new business or we're looking for something, don't we automatically sort of Google it? This is a little bit more interactive, even low budget way of having website access or, a web presence without having to spend so much money on video and videography and editing and that sort of thing. You're able to interact with people in real time, in real life, just like we're doing right now. So you can see I'm responding to people that are asking questions, that are posting comments in real time. Unlike a YouTube video or a video that you create and post and you share it, and then you have to wait for somebody to comment, and then you have to, like wait for this, wait for that. Excuse me. So this gives you an opportunity to interact with people real time in real life, like on the spot in the moment. And that again builds that rapport. It builds that trust with people. Also, I think it's a great addition because it's the one-to-many approach. So I know, especially for those of you that are pastors, whether your congregation is small, medium, or large, mega, whatever, it is hard to interact personally with everyone in your congregation. It is hard to develop some of that rapport and that just that feeling of, connectivity with everyone, and to maintain that on a consistent basis, right? So what this does is it gives you an opportunity without having to call every member on the phone or, going to all your members' houses or attending all their birthday parties and stuff like that. It gives you an opportunity to have a little bit of a personal connection. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to do anything other than set up a camera and, just talk from your heart, or just share, or just answer questions, or what have you. So you have the opportunity to have that one-to-many approach, but it's done in a really, really personal way, which I think is very impactful and allows you to create that rapport and that relationship with not only your current members, but potential members as well. Also, it allows people to get a glimpse of your personality and your style, and even your church culture. So it allows people to see, and that's one of the tips I actually have. It allows people to see a little bit behind the scenes. And can y'all see and hear me? I just want to make sure. Let me do a check right now because I see a lot of people joining that I thought were already in here. So I just want to make sure we're good. Okay. All right. Good deal. So again, it allows people to get a glimpse of your personality, your style, your personal style, and your church culture without, in my opinion, even being too invasive, but it just allows you to be you and for people to see that. And again, establish that rapport with you. Not every church is for everyone. So it allows you to really connect with those people that you do resonate with, that are really interested in what you have to share and say and what your church offers them and what they can potentially offer your church. So that's why I think that Periscope is a great addition to ministry. Again, it's personal and it's human. It does the one-to-many approach in a very, very real and personal way. And you're able to get a glimpse of your personality, your style, and your church culture. So now we're getting ready to get into the meat of it. We're going to talk about 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. One great thing about this and what I'm doing is, if you see me look to my right, your left maybe, a little bit, is because I'm actually recording this to put up on my website. So this will be available sometime tomorrow, that you can send a link to other people in your ministry. If you feel like this is helpful, you can save it and review it yourself from time to time if you'd like to do that. But it will be available not only on Periscope afterwards, but it actually will be available on my website too for you to refer to later. But I do advise that you maybe take notes or jot a couple of things down that may be helpful to you. All right, so we're going to talk about 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. This is for people that are pastors. Don't forget, if you don't mind, share this Periscope with your followers. This is for pastors, preachers. How do I add to your website? Actually, I uploaded to, I'm recording it via as a Google Hangout, and so it's uploading automatically to YouTube. And then I just take that link and embed it in my site. That was the easiest way for me to figure out how to do this. There's probably another way, but that's the way that I chose because I didn't want to add so many steps in my process. I didn't want to have to record and then edit and then do all of this stuff. So for me, recording it as a Google Hangout was really helpful. And that way it's automatically uploaded. It's raw and it's not edited really, but it is there. And so people can refer to it automatically. Okay. All right, so 10 ways you can use Periscope in your ministry. Number 1, daily or weekly devotionals. I think that this is an amazing way for you to use Periscope in your ministry. You can tie it to a series that you may be doing. You can tie it to, seasonally. You can do things related to Lent or Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving. So depending on your availability and your schedule, you can do daily or weekly devotions. There are a couple of morning meditations and devotional type Periscopes that I watch just about every day, depending on my schedule. And so this is a really good option. You can always do, a lot of people are doing prayer calls. You can do the prayer calls, actually a prayer Periscope. So you can actually, and I think it would be extremely, and establish a really good connection if they can actually see you praying. So that's one thing that you could do that is different than what everyone else is doing. You can jump on that pretty quickly. You can do, 5 a.m. prayer Periscope or 6 a.m. or what have you. My pastor actually does a prayer call at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. every week on Tuesdays. So you could establish those times. You can create a graphic just like you would on Instagram and announce that you're going to be on Periscope at a certain time doing this prayer Periscope. You could do it one of two ways. You could do it where you actually take requests if you wanted to do it like that, or you can actually do it where you just pray. You pray about specific things. You could take prayer requests in advance and then pray about it, or you can actually do it in the moment if you want to, or just pray about whatever God lays on your heart with that. So again, number 1, daily and or weekly devotions. Number 2, behind the scenes. I always love these. These are so cool to me. Fortunately and unfortunately, we are a slightly voyeuristic society. So we want to see what people are doing and how they do it and how they get things done and that sort of thing. So you can always do a behind the scenes of prepping for a conference, prepping for Sunday morning worship, prepping for, an event or something like that. There are all kinds of things that you can do behind the scenes. And I have a couple of other examples that I'm going to share a little bit later. So I don't want to necessarily give all of that away now. So number 1, daily or weekly devotionals and also prayer Periscopes now. Number 2, behind the scenes. Number 3 is Q&A. So I think that this would be interesting and impactful and insightful at the same time. So there are so many people out there right now that are seeking, and some that are even lost, and they have questions. And sometimes the people that they ask aren't as they either aren't as knowledgeable as they should be, or they are not as gracious as they should be with their answers. And so I really think that an opportunity to for people to ask some questions of a pastor would be something impactful. So I suggest using Periscope to do some sort of Q&A. Again, it could be subject specific, seasonally, or it could just be general Q&A about the church. For those of you that don't know, especially those of you that are pastors and ministers especially, there is a huge sort of exodus from especially the Black church of people, and specifically Black women, because they say that we are economically and socially and spiritually oppressed in the Black church. So for me, it is extremely and utterly important that spiritual leaders counter that with truth in word, and in truth in gospel, and truth, just truth, period, about the experience of people in church, not just, Black women, but for everyone in church. And I think doing a Q&A where, you show forth the love of God, but you also tell them the truth about what church is like, and you help them understand that what church is and what church isn't, and who is in the church, in terms of there are humans that have all sorts of issues of life that we're all dealing with, and what that really means, and talk about their relationship with God and how they can do that, because now the thought is that they don't have to go to church in order to have a relationship with God. So there are so many things that you can address in a Q&A session, or you can take these as individual Periscopes on your own and talk about these things and address some of these issues and ills and questions and rumors and innuendos and all sorts of things that's happening in the church. I want to make sure that you all can still see me, because I still see people kind of coming in and out. So I just want to make sure we're good. All right. Thank you. So far we've talked about, we're on number 3 of the 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry: daily or weekly devotions, behind the scenes, and Q&A. Number 4 is event advertisements. So you can advertise your events. You can advertise things that are happening at your church, whether it's regular Sunday morning worship or special service, revival, what have you. You can advertise those things on Periscope and just talk about them from your perspective, and really, really invite people out. A lot of people want to hear from the pastor. It's great to have, someone else in the ministry do the announcement, or someone else talk about it. But let's be frank, a lot of people just want to hear from the pastor. This is a way for you to do it that doesn't take a huge amount of time. It doesn't take a lot of video prowess, if you will. I mean, you can do those as well. You can do a professionally shot or, a recorded video, but then you can also just do, pastors and preachers are gifted at doing things impromptu, off the cuff. And so I just really think that you're just making this announcement, especially if you feel like there's a lag in momentum when it comes to your event. You're getting up there and saying, hey, we're getting ready to have revival. It's going to be amazing. You don't want to miss out on it. There was a statistic, I think, what is it, by the Pew Center, where it said 85% of people in church will attend or do if they're asked. And so sometimes we assume that a flyer is asking, and it's not all the time, but you're actually getting out there and saying, hey, this is coming up. We'd love for you to attend and be a part. You should be there, what have you. That is an amazing way to get people in, to draw them to you, to draw them to your event, and thus to your church. So event advertisement is a great way to use Periscope for your ministry. Number 5, hi, how are ya? Number 5 is really interesting to me. And I love it because, again, like, I'm slightly voyeuristic. And so there's a pastor that I follow on Periscope, and I do recommend that you follow him as well, because he's doing a lot of what I'm suggesting, and he does it really well, in my opinion, at least in a way that I think is entertaining for me, and I just like it. So number 5 is a day in the life. And essentially, I'm just like, take your phone, because Periscope is on your phone, and you just kind of take people on a day. You don't have to get really, really specific or really personal necessarily, but you can take them if you're going to work out at the gym. You can take them there and just do a quick Periscope. Hey, just checking in, getting ready to get this workout in the gym. You can talk about something kind of health related, and I have to keep myself healthy. Is you should keep yourself healthy. Have an awesome day in the Lord. Love you. Peace out. Like, it doesn't have to be very, very long. You don't have to take a text or anything like that. So you could, do that. If you go play golf, if you are having a meeting at church, you don't have to record the meeting, but you can say, getting ready to head into worship meeting with my team. Just want to, just check in and say hello. Things like that. So they can sort of see that, hey, this is a real person. It's not just this man that stands up behind this pulpit on Sunday morning. Like, he does regular things. He drives places, and he hangs out, and he, does things that even I do. Again, it's about that connectivity and that rapport that you're establishing with people. So a day in the life, that's number 5. For those of you that may be just joining us, my name is Adeea Rogers. I'm known online as the Trendy Socialite. And we're talking about 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. I think what I'm going to do right now, since we're halfway through, I'm going to exit out of this broadcast and start again. And just in case there is something wonky on my end, and I will be right back. And I hope that you will come back and join me for the last, actually, I have a bonus tip. So there are actually 6 more tips that I'm going to give. So I'll be right back. All right. Awesome. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. Give me some hearts if you can see me and hear me. For those of you that are indeed new, this is your first time joining. If you swipe to the right on an iPhone and swipe up on an Android and share this Periscope with your followers, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the hearts. For those of you that are just joining us and that are brand new, hi to Periscope and don't know what those hearts means, that it's showing love, that's giving love, that's saying, I like what you're saying, and I agree, and this is awesome, and all that kind of stuff. So you can tap on the screen to give hearts. You see where my finger is? You can just tap, 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 tap. Give me lots and lots of hearts. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. So I went through the first 5 ways of how to use Periscope in your ministry. And so I'll go over those again really quickly. Hey, and then we'll continue on. So number 1 was, okay, well, first I'm going to go back and say why I think it is, thank you, why I think it's a great addition to ministry, why I think Periscope is. 1, it's allows you to have a human and personal touch with not only your current congregants and members and people that follow you, but also with other people that may be potential visitors and or future members of your congregation or follow your ministry. Also, it does the one-to-many in a very, very personal way, in my opinion. So we can't always, as leaders, as church leaders, we can't always, call all of our members and give them that personal touch all the time. But what it does is it allows you to have that personal touch because you're actually able to interact with them in the moment. And people love that. in a way long for that. They want to know that their pastor, whether you're in a small congregation or a mega church, they want to know that their pastor, like, at least knows that they're alive, if you will. And so this gives you that opportunity to establish, reestablish, continue, and maintain that rapport with people that follow your ministry. Also, it gives people a glimpse into your personality, your style, and even your church culture. So they get to see, kind of what you're like, and see if that's something that resonates with them and something that they can learn from and grow from spiritually. And then also, what's the vibe at your church, and what's the worship like, and all of those things, and if they can actually connect with that as well. All right, so we went through the first 5 again. Daily or weekly devotionals is one way that you can use Periscope in your ministry. Behind the scenes, I love that one, to see, how you do things, preparing for worship, preparing for an event, what have you. Number 3 is a Q&A. I talked about how there are a lot of people that are seeking. There are a lot of people that are lost. There are just a lot of people that have questions about religion and Christianity and life and the church. And I think that that's an amazing way of really, really connecting with them and answering some of those questions, and hopefully developing a rapport and trust, especially because a lot of people are very distrustful of the church, and Facebook is not helping with that at all. Number 4 is event advertisement. So advertising events that are happening at your church. Number 5 is a day in the life, where you kind of take Periscope and people that follow you around with you as you're going throughout your day. You don't have to do anything extremely personal, but you can just do periodic check-ins from different places as you go throughout your day. Let's see. And also something that I think would be interesting in that vein, in a day in the life, is to, if you're preparing for a sermon or you're preparing for Bible study, like kind of just showing them the lay of the land, if you will. I like seeing pictures of, your Bible open and your notebook open, or your tablet out, or whatever that, that looks like for you actually preparing for your sermon. That shows people that, you're studying, you're preparing, and that you spend time with God and you spend time doing this. And it shows that you take seriously what you do. And I just think that would be just a really, really personal, because I think that's really personal to a pastor or a preacher or to a ministry leader or what have you. And so I just think that would really establish a rapport and a connection, because sometimes people think that as ministry leaders, we don't study, or, like it just comes to us standing up there. And so I think it is really, really impactful for them to be able to see that, you do have to want to spend time with God and studying and preparing, so that you can give His best and thus your best to His people. Number 6 in the 10 ways to use Periscope in your ministry is pre-service hype. Yes, get it. Pre-service hype. So, you can Periscope from your office. Hey, Sunday worship is getting ready to get started. If you live stream, you can join us on live streaming at www whatever, your website is.com. Click live media. You can join us for worship. If you if you're looking for a church or a place to worship this morning, come on down and check us out, and So you can do pre-service hype. If you have like a ministry account where it was for your church, someone could take it and do sort of a behind the scenes pre-service hype. So they can go into the communication room. They can, go in the back where maybe the praise team is gathering and maybe practicing one last time or something like that. Or, you can go outside in the parking lot or stand at the door and invite people in, or watch as people are coming in, and record just how, excited people are about coming to church and what have you. So pre-service hype. I think, is a great way to use Periscope in your ministry. Again, to show, again, that church culture, how people can connect and how it resonates with them in at your particular house of worship. Because again, like I said in the first Periscope, people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. And it is very akin in when it comes to religion and Christianity and our relationship with God. We want to trust the person that is shepherding our souls. We want to feel comfortable in the environment that we worship in. And in order to do that, we have to sort of, thanks for the hearts on that, I know you feel me. We have to, give them a glimpse into that. Because just like we Google a business before we ever set foot in there, a lot of us do the same thing when it comes to church. I can't tell you, looking at our stats on our church's website, I can't tell you the number of times that, the number of hits that we've gotten from all over the place of people that I know are checking us out before they ever set foot in our church. So this pre-service hype that you can do will give people that glimpse and will get people excited about either tuning into you on live stream or actually coming to one of your services or one of your events. So that is number 6 in the 10 ways you can use Periscope in your church ministry. Again, my name is Adeea Rogers, known online as the Trendy Socialite. I am a pastor's kid. That's my mama, my pastor back there. I'm head of our communications ministry. I'm social media manager at my job. So I know just enough to be dangerous about how to use technology and apps and those sorts of things in ministry. And that's actually one of the things I'm very passionate about, because if you do follow me online, on Sunday mornings, I'm usually on Instagram or Twitter sharing nuggets from my pastor's sermon. And that's a great way for you to use Instagram. And I do it for wherever I am in Sunday morning worship. My cousin loves it when I do it. When I go to his church and I do it, he absolutely loves it. I get so many just nuggets. And so I just share what resonates with me and what blesses me with others. And that's a great way to also connect with people as well. And people have come to our church as a result. People have, visited or requested counseling or special prayer from my mom or what have you, come to events. So that's also a great way on social media wise to connect with people. So we've talked about daily and weekly devotions as a way to connect or use Periscope in your ministry, behind the scenes, a Q&A. We love you too, Patience. Event advertisement, a day in the life. I am Trendy Socialite on Twitter and Instagram. I forgot where it was. Event advertisement, a day in the life, pre-service hype. Number 7 is interviews. Now, these interviews can be you can be interviewed on Periscope by someone else in your ministry, another leader. You can interview other leaders within your ministry. You can interview guests that may be coming to your church. So if you are having someone come in for a conference or revival, you can do a quick Periscope with them like earlier in the afternoon and use that also as an event advertisement to entice people to come out to your event that evening or to watch via live stream or what have you. So you can absolutely use Periscope to do interviews or to be interviewed again. I think both would be good, especially when you first start out on Periscope. You might want to actually be interviewed so people can get an idea, if you are the pastor, who you are, how you are, and that sort of thing, and they can establish that connection with you. But then after that time, you can absolutely interview other people on your Periscope as well. Now, I'll interject this here. You can set up your Periscope one of 2 ways. You can set it up as your church's Periscope or your ministry's Periscope, or you can set it up as your personal Periscope. The one pastor that I follow on Periscope that I really, really like, his name is Pastor Tim Finley Jr., and his Periscope name is TIM FINDLEYJR. So Tim Finley Jr. is his Periscope name. And he is Adeea Rogers on Facebook. He is a really, really good Periscoper, a pastoral Periscoper, in my opinion. So he talks a lot about, like, he just gets up there kind of randomly. There's really no set schedule for him. And he may, not come on for, it's just like been a couple of days since I've seen a Periscope from him, but he'll hop on and he'll just talk about whatever's on his heart at that moment. Last week, he Periscoped playing basketball with the youth in his church. He just shares different things. And so I really, really like that quality about him. And so even though I think he's in Louisville, it just shows a really personal side of him. And if I were ever in Louisville, that is absolutely the ministry that I would go visit because of, of just his presence on Periscope. So, I think that I just think that Periscope is a game changer when it comes to ministry. I absolutely think that. So you can set it up where it is you personally, if you want to do it, or you can set it up where it is your church. If you set it up where it's your church, it might work well because then other people could have access to it, or you could do both. It's kind of up to you. If you set it up where it's your ministry, then, like I said, other people can have access to it and Periscope as well. So your communication team, your assistant pastor, whoever that would have the username and password and access to, because it is connected to Twitter, so it's connected to your Twitter account. So if you have your own Twitter account, you can use that. Or if you have a church's Twitter account, you can use that as well. See where I am. All right, we're on number 8 in the 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. Number 8 is highlight ministry leaders and staff. So that, again, it coincides with interviews. It also coincides with behind the scenes. So showing people, because we don't do ministry by ourselves. It shows them that, we do ministry as a team. And so you can highlight your youth leaders and your women's ministry leaders, your men's ministry leaders, your parking ministry if you want to. You can highlight them, not just the leaders, but the ministry itself. You can highlight all of that as part of your Periscope. And again, that gives people that glimpse into church culture and to know that, there's a place for them in your ministry. I think that that's hugely impactful. So that'll show them that, there's something that I can get involved in. There's something that, my kids can get involved in. I absolutely think it is almost, a non-negotiable that you do some youth ministry stuff on your Periscope, because stats show that even if the parents don't come, the parents will send their kids to church. And, if you pray and if you plant those seeds and you water them right, you may eventually also get the parent to come as well. But a lot of people have switched churches, changed churches, left churches because of a lack of activity for their kids. So you want to make sure that you share those things with your congregants and with people in your congregation and people that may potentially visit your congregation. Number 9 in the 10 ways to use Periscope in your ministry is to share critical information. I think that this is huge as well, because if something were to happen and, if there's a catastrophe or weather or what have you, you can hop on Periscope like that and tell people what the deal is, what to do, that sort of thing. So you can always share very, very critical information in the moment with people as well. In addition to doing phone trees and emails and all of that, that just, again, gives some of that personal connection with people. Hey, this is Pastor so-and-so. Due to the snow tonight, we're not going to be able to have Bible study. But, and you can even use that as an opportunity to, connect with them again. But here's a quick word for you, or here's what I was going to cover. And so I just think that would be huge. I would love it if we did something like that, And now with Periscope on the scene, that's absolutely possible to do. So and even if you are out of town, for instance, and you cancel because you're out of town, you can still hop on Periscope and be like, hey, this is Pastor Tim. I'm, way some way, but I wanted to say hi. I wanted to give you this quick word. Here's a little 10-minute ditty for you. And you share it and you hop off. People can watch it later. Someone from your team can upload it to the website. Pastor Tim is out of town, but you can, check out this message from him. So I just think that that's good stuff. And then number 10, in the 10 ways you can use Periscope in your church ministry, is to share an idea and ask for feedback. So one way that I immediately thought of that you can use this is if you are contemplating maybe what your next sermon series is going to be, or what your next Bible study series is going to be, you can take it to Periscope and see what resonates with people and see what they seem excited about, especially if you don't have any really strong leanings one way or the other, and you would be okay with, you feel like with either one. This may be the confirmation that you need. So you can use Periscope to share an idea and then ask your followers for feedback in that way. So I actually have a bonus tip for the 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry, but I need to see a few hearts on the screen, so I'll share it with you. Actually, I have kind of 2 tips. An 11th way and then a tip for you. So I need to see rainbow hearts, lots of different colors, please. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are awesome. Woohoo! All right, so the bonus way that you can use Periscope in your ministry is you can actually have private scopes. So you can deem a scope as private and then invite the people that you want to it. So what does that do for you? What does that open up for you as a ministry leader? You can have virtual meetings with your team or with people. You can connect with people even when you're out of town. So if you need to meet with your team, but you're out of town and not available or not accessible physically in that way, you can have a virtual meeting with them via Periscope if you wanted to. And you would have a recording of that meeting. If you wanted to save it and share it with people, they could access it later. Or for some reason they couldn't make the meeting, then they can access actually not just some minutes that somebody typed up that are flat and maybe missing some details, but they actually have the benefit of and are privileged to see, like privy to is what I meant, privy to the conversation that would happen in that meeting. So again, yeah, it is very similar to Hangout in a lot of ways, except Hangout for a lot of us is somewhat complicated. This is very, very simple. So for Periscope, you can actually, and I don't have a way to show you, but right now I'm using Periscope on my phone, and my phone is on a tabletop tripod. So you could literally put your phone on a tabletop tripod and record the meeting, like put it at one end and you all kind of sit, so that it could capture at least most of you all. And even if everyone's not necessarily on camera in that way, you can, yes, it's sort of like Hangout and Instagram together. People can at least hear what's going on or what have you. So you could do private scopes if you wanted to, if you wanted to do a small group, or, even have some people register, like you're going to do a small prayer time together. You're going to do something very small. Or for those of you, I see there's looks like there's a psalmist in here. If you want to do something uber exclusive, like release a new song to just a select few people, or that they have to register or do something like that in order to do that, then you could do a private scope with just those people. So I think that that's also a cool way that you could use Periscope. One thing that happens in Periscope is I feel like we break it a lot. So if you don't mind swiping to the right, swiping up to share this with your followers, we break it a lot. It just shuts down on you. So hopefully that is something that they will handle. So I have gone through the 10 ways and the bonus tip of how to use Periscope in your ministry, but I'll go back through them again. It's all in one piece in my replay that will be up on my website, probably, if not tonight, then sometime tomorrow by lunchtime. So you can actually access the replay at adeearrogers.com, ADEARROGERS.com/10AT10. So that'll take you to the page where all of my Periscopes that I've done are listed. So again, you can access this replay by noon tomorrow, or around noon tomorrow, definitely, if not before, at adeearrogers.com/10at10, 10AT10. And that's Adeea, ADEARROGERS.com/10at10. Thank you so much, Ayana, for sharing that. And this actually is the tip that I have for you. What Ayana just did is actually my tip for you. So especially for those of you that are ministry leaders, pastors, and things like that, you're going to be sharing information that people are going to miss because you're talking or what have you. And what Ayana just did was what I suggest that you have on any Periscopes that you do. And that's sort of like a Periscope assistant or scribe, if you will. And this person will type in things in the chat box in your Periscope. So if you reference a scripture or a website or, you know, an extremely valuable point, they'll retype it or type it and put it in the chat box for people to grab and for people to know what they're talking about. So you see, she continues to put that web link in there. So that's a great way for you not to really lose a lot of momentum and having to repeat yourself 10, 12, 15 times when it comes to sharing and being on Periscope. So I would suggest that you identify someone on your staff to help you if you decide you're going to do a Periscope, especially if you are going to schedule it in advance and you know that you're going to do it. I think that this is an amazing way for you to do that. Absolutely, my pleasure. My pleasure. So I'm going to run through again the 10 ways you can use Periscope in your ministry again, and then answer any questions that you may have, especially if you've missed something and you're just joining. All right, so 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. Again, I am Adeea Rogers, known online as the trendy socialite. And sorry, somebody called me. Thank you again. So this is how you can, 10 ways you can use Periscope in your ministry. Number 1, daily or weekly devotionals. Number 2, behind the scenes action. Number 3, a Q&A. I talked about how lots of people are seeking and lost and just needing some, truth and some guidance and some wisdom that a lot of times only those in ministry and those who have a real, have that leadership can share. Number 4, event advertisement. So sharing the events that you're having at your church. And it is stated that when people are asked and when things come from the head and from the pulpit, people tend to respond in a much more favorable fashion. So you can literally hop on Periscope without having to be mic'd up, suited up, or whatever, and just say, "Hey, this is Pastor so-and-so. We're having, Bible study tonight, or we're having whatever tonight. Really, really want you to come out and join us. It's going to be a high time. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to be great worship, great fellowship, blah, blah, blah." So event advertisement is great. Number 5 is a day in the life. So you basically just take Periscope with you and check in from different places and at different points and times throughout the day, including maybe even some study time that you have, and you sort of show people your desk or something when you have your Bibles out and your concordance and, whatever tools that you use in preparing messages and sermons and teachings and what have you. Number 6 is pre-service hype. Yes, pre-service hype I think would be amazing. It's kind of coupled with behind the scenes, so you can do things like showing people entering worship and their excitement and their joy, and people standing around having conversations prior to worship beginning, because that's what we sort of do. We have like fellowship. People get to church early, actually, go figure, so they can talk to people after church. So you can share that with people. You can do behind the scenes communication ministry, children's ministry, praise and worship, that sort of thing. And you can share that sort of hype and get people infectious and invite them to live stream with you, or invite them to actually attend, whatever that looks like for you, doing that sort of pre-service hype. Number 7 is interviews. Being interviewed yourself as a spiritual leader, but then also interviewing other people, whether that's ministry staff, volunteers, people that are coming to your church for a service or a conference or a revival. You can actually do interviews with them. You can do interviews with them live, but then there are also a couple of ways or one way that I definitely know will work, that you can do it where they are on a computer, but you and that person can still be seen. Number 8 is highlight ministry leaders and staff. So you can interview them. You can highlight different ministries within your church. Again, that talks about and shows people that are potentially wanting to visit your church, or perhaps even join, a little bit about your church culture, so that they can hopefully find a place for themselves within your church culture. And that gives them an opportunity to do that and to see that firsthand. Also, number 9 is to share critical information. So if for some reason Bible study is canceled due to weather, you're able to hop on, in addition to doing a phone tree, in addition to doing, sending an email, you're able to hop on and share that critical information. You can also use that as an opportunity to share the word that you were going to give, or to share something, or to have even sort of a quick online Bible study when if you are out of town or an emergency pops up or what have you. Number 10 is to share an idea and ask for feedback. And that is, if you are between maybe 2 sermon series titles or subjects, or Bible study series or topics or subjects, you can actually, get on Periscope and say, hey, I'm thinking about one of these 2 subjects. What resonates with you? What do you feel like will be, great for you in your spiritual walk and in your growth? And especially if you don't have a leading one way or the other, this may be the confirmation or the help that you need to sort of make that final decision. So share an idea and ask for feedback. And it doesn't have to be related to your topics necessarily. It could be, themes, or next event, or next thing that the men go through or go to for men's retreat, or different things like that. So there are all kinds of options for you in that regard. Number 11 is you can have private scopes. So that was my bonus tip for your bonus way. You can have private scopes. So you can have a scope where it's maybe just you, and your ministry leaders that are there, and you can share, hey, how are you? You can just share within there. So especially if you are a pastor or a spiritual leader and you're not able to be in the meeting, you could actually Periscope, and you would have a recording of that meeting that you could share and send out to people later, house in a different place on your website and in a private location or what have you. And they can not only see like just the meeting minutes, which may be flat and leaving out some things. I'll answer that in just one second, but they would be privy to the actual conversations and the context. So how you always miss that one meeting, and then they talk about something in the meeting, and then you come in the next meeting, or somebody comes in that meeting and talks about the exact same thing that you already talked about, but it wasn't really reflected in the minutes. Yeah, if you have this Periscope available, kind of avoids all of that rehashing of stuff. No rehasherization in here. So how do you make the scope private? It actually is in, I think, when you are setting up the broadcast. I think that's where you make that setting for it to be private, and then you would invite the people that you want. So that means that, you know, you either have to know their names, or they would have to be private in that particular regard. It's also good if you wanted to say, if you are a recording artist, or a hi, how are you, or a psalmist, or a singer, or some sort of praise and worship ministry leader, and you wanted to, you could have a private scope practice if you wanted to, or where you can't see the other people, but you could, you know, share some things, or have a meeting, or if you just needed to say something to them, you could do that. You could, if you were a recording artist, hi, you could share, you know, brand new work, or, you know, here's what I'm working on, and you could share that with them as well. So there are some ways that you could do some private scopes, especially for your closest, dearest fans. They could register, you could run a contest. You know, there's some different things that you can do along those lines. Then my last tip was to have a Periscope assistant, someone that would actually come into the broadcast and type out in the comment section some of the things that you say, especially if it is website related, scripture related, any important nuggets that you may be sharing during the scope. They can actually type it out for you, so that you don't lose your flow and your momentum by having to repeat yourself repeatedly. So especially for people that may be taking notes or wanting to write those things down. So those are the 10 ways that you can use Periscope in your ministry. Again, my name is Adeea Rogers. I'm known online as the Trendy Socialite. I am the daughter of a pastor. I run the communication ministry at my church. I also do social media at my day job at East Carolina University. Are there any questions that I can answer for you? I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if this was helpful with hearts and comments and your questions. I've been wanting to do this for pretty much since I've been on Periscope, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, and I started even sharing with some of the spiritual leaders in my life. I was like, oh, you have got to get on Periscope. You absolutely have to get on Periscope. This is going to be a game changer. And I really think it is going to be a game changer for ministry, because it allows you to have that live, in living color relationship and focus, and build that rapport with, thank you, I appreciate it, with not only your current congregation, but with those that may become potential members of your congregation. We have to use all that is at our fingertips in order to share the gospel with others. You know, that's a great commission, is to go into all of the world. And in order to go into all of the world where we can't be physically, we can be virtually. And this is, I mean, the world is absolutely, it is free evangelism. The world is so, it's in need of the truth, and it's in need of what the church has to offer. They think that they don't need us anymore, and they think that we don't have anything to offer, but that's not true. So it is up to us, those of us that are willing to take a stand and to take a little bit of a risk, and maybe even to step outside of our comfort zone, to use these avenues as ways to show the love of God, show the love of Christ, spread that gospel, spread that good news with others, and to show that the church is still relevant, the church still cares, the church is still interested in their growth and in their development, not just spiritually, but mentally and emotionally and physically, and in all of those areas. So we can turn all of the negative things that people are saying about the church into a positive, and we can show them that while there may be these examples out there, let me show you something different. Let me show you my heart towards God's people. Let me show you what my church is about, and how we show forth the love of Christ in that particular way. So again, I'm just talking because I'm waiting to see if there are any questions or comments or things that people want to share with me. Let me know if this was helpful. Thank you. Yes, again, by tomorrow lunchtime, this scope will be up on my website, so you'll be able to refer to it for as long as you need to. Thank you. You're so sweet. At adeearogers.com/10AT10 10 at 10. I do these scopes thank you, I appreciate it. I do these scopes Monday through Thursday at 10 o'clock. They're on a variety of topics. Tonight, I knew I just had to do it for pastors and ministry leaders. So, and I thought Monday was a good night because you don't typically have Bible study and choir rehearsal and a whole bunch of other stuff on Monday nights. We typically chill after worship on Sunday. So that's why I did it tonight. But again, and if you don't mind share it with your other leader friends if you found this helpful. Yes, these tips can absolutely transfer over to business and marketing in other ways as well. So I really appreciate you all sharing with me tonight. Again, tomorrow, thank you. This scope will be available on my website, adearrogers.com/10@10, 10, There are also ways for you to connect with me there. If there is any way I can be of service to you and or your ministry, I would absolutely love it. We can always have conversations, willing to hop on the phone with people, with your team, and share this again, answer any particular questions that they have, because not only do we do ministry as a team at my church, but I believe in doing ministry as a team with everyone within the body of Christ, because it's going to take all of us winning the lost and providing that safe haven and that place for people to find themselves and find God and find peace and find comfort. So again, my name, yes, absolutely. Connect with me on Instagram and Twitter, Trendy Socialite. I talk about lots of different things on Instagram and Twitter. So, but I am definitely, I love God. Do you love God? I can't even believe I'm repeating this because anyway, I do love God. Absolutely love him. And so, I love to I love to share with people. I love to talk to people. I try to follow back and talk back. So don't think I'm just like out there and not really responding. What's wrong with you? So I am Trendy Socialite on Instagram and Twitter. I really do hope to connect with you. Again, that pastor I talked about earlier that I think is a great person to follow, especially if you're not really sure how to navigate some of these waters as a spiritual leader, is Tim Findley Jr., TimFindleyJr. Yes, I do follow back. All right, so I have kept you all long enough. Again, you'll be able to access this sometime tomorrow, hopefully by lunchtime, at adearrogers.com/10at10. Again, my name is Adeea Rogers. I'm known online as the Trendy Socialite. Just a thank you. I really appreciate all your help, Ayana. I appreciate that a lot. Again, just a pastor's kid that loves God, that wants all of those in the body of Christ to be able to share the gospel with others. And that's why I did this Periscope tonight. And I knew I was going to have smaller numbers because this was really, really specific, but I had to get this out there. And because I don't want us to be lagging or late or tardy for the party when it comes to how to use technology effectively in ministry. And so that's why I wanted to do this Periscope. I hope that you learned something on 10 ways you can use Periscope in your ministry. Let me know how you're using it. My contact information is on my website. You can always reach out to me. Tell Patience I said hi. Well, she can hear me and see me. Hey, boo. Hey. Yeah, so you can reach out to me. Let me know how you're using it. Let me know any questions that you have. Feel free to send me an email. All of my email and contact information is on my website. So you can, once you look at the replay, if you have questions, you can reach out to me there. All right. All right, y'all. So I'm a little tired from my weekend. I was at a hair show all weekend long, and I'm just exhausted. I hosted and I was on 2 panels. I hosted 2 events and was on 2 panels. So I'm a little tired, and I am going to head out and get some rest. Although I think I have like 4 Periscope topics that I really want to cover, but I don't think I'll be able to cover all of them. I definitely can't do it tonight, but I may come back. I don't know.